Hello you guys. Today is going to be a very vulnerable type of video. I do want to share with you guys a little bit of a life update. I haven't picked up the camera in almost 2 months because I will be honest, I fell into a depression. Getting out of bed was hard, getting in the shower, just trying to play with KyndalRicks, take care of him, like it really was hard. Like if you struggle with depression, like you know it's hard, and so I really had to push myself. I made it through. Some days I still struggle, but feeling a little bit better now, and I think it's just because I've come to terms like it is what it is. I just didn't want to come on here and sit and cry over everything that was going on. I'm not here for like sympathy or anything. This is my life. This is what's going on. So I'm gonna jump back to December/January. Basically, we went to Nevada. You guys already know that was a mess. I explained that in the vlog where we went. I think it was like Hendrix's first plane ride or something. We got back from that. We're gonna go back to our normal routine of Kenny going to work, me being a stay-at-home mom, getting groceries, paying rent, like just doing our normal stuff. But I got a text from my sister saying that she needed some insurance money as well as an extra $40, which was to cover parking costs because we left her car at the airport when we flew out. And so I was like, I'll just split parking with you. So I think mine was like $40. And then as far as insurance money goes, I don't think I ever really explained this when I got my car. I never even talked about when I got my car, but I was in need of a car, and my sister and her girlfriend at the time had a vehicle that they weren't using or something of that sort, and so she's like, if you just want to take over the payments, like you can have it. My credit is and was at the time shot and just completely screwed. So she's like, I'll keep it in my name, I'll put insurance in my name, you just make the payments and the car is yours. So I was like, okay, that's fair enough. I've had this car a year and a half, I've never missed a payment. That's where the insurance money came in. So I texted her back and I was like, you know, I have the insurance money, I'm gonna have to wait a few days to get you the extra $40 to cover that parking fee. I mean, it was already paid, it was just I had to pay her to like reimburse her for it. Payday is only a couple days away, I'll get it to you then. She never responded, and so I was like, okay, I'm gonna go about my day, I'm gonna go get groceries. And I was sitting in the parking lot and she called me. You have to have the car in your name by Friday or else my ex-girlfriend's gonna come down from Oklahoma to get it, because I guess she like wants to trade it or something. I don't know, like her story didn't make sense at all. I was like, okay, I'll see what I can do, because my sister knows that my credit is shot. Like that is why she helped me out in the first place. As soon as I hung up, I just started bawling and I texted Kenny and I was like, can you please call me as soon as you can? Which, I mean, he was at work, so I didn't expect to hear from him right away. So I went, pulled myself together, got groceries, went back out, and Kenny had called me. I explained what just happened. He was furious, absolutely furious, and he's like, okay, we'll figure something out. I'll call you here in a little bit. And you know, he came home and we talked about it. I don't really remember how that conversation went, but we talked about it. I even vented to my mom that night and was like, I don't understand why she's doing this, like it doesn't make sense. And my mom had even pointed out, because she's like, well, how much is left on the car? And I was like, well, I still owe $9,000 on it, but the car itself is only worth, I think it's like between $4,000 and $6,000. She's like, well, that doesn't really make sense. Like, why would somebody go trade that car if it's only worth, say, $5,000, but they owe $9,000? Kenny and I came to the conclusion, it's like, well, if she's just gonna up and take this car for no reason, then we're gonna take the battery out and she's gonna have to replace it, because we just put a brand new battery in that thing. And he's like, it's under warranty, like we'll go get our money back and they'll have to go buy a new battery. Like if they want to play games, they'll play games too. So I told my sister that. I was like, just so you know, you're gonna have to go get a battery for it. And she threatened to call the cops for like vandalism, and I'm like, I literally have text messages of you saying like, this is my car, like you're coming to take it from me, and I have, you know, proof of payment on my bank statement for a year and a half stating that I have been making the payments on this car. I stopped talking to her after that, like now mid-January, and I had to take Kenny to the airport to go to Texas. He had a big conference he had to go to for work. A couple days after that, my sister came and got the car, like tossed her the keys, and I was like, bye. Like I don't care to talk to you. And that was like the last time that I had talked to her for like a month or so. So Kenny's now in Texas and I'm in Utah without a car. I'm like, if there's an emergency or if I need to run and get something from the store. Like, I'm basically screwed and have no way of doing so. Sure enough, I ended up getting really sick, but I could have sworn it was just my asthma, and then I thought it was like bronchitis. Not even 24 hours after Kenny's back, he gets sick. Then the day after that, Hendrix got really sick. I'm sure you guys saw on Instagram if you follow me, but he broke out in hives and he had like a fever of 103. The hives were literally just progressing so incredibly fast, and I called Kenny. I was like, hey, he's breaking out in hives, keep you updated, you know, if they get worse we do need to take him in. He's like, no, that's fine. If that's the case, I'll just call the other manager in to come in early. No, sure enough, Hendrix's hives are just, they're out of control. I'll have to see if I can post a picture, but they're literally out of control. So I call Kenny again. I'm like, we need to get him to a doctor, like now. Like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't know if he's having an allergic reaction. He has this really high fever. He has hives. I don't have any medicine to give him. I have no way of going and getting medicine for him. I'll call in the other manager. Well, the other manager didn't even come in early. He came in basically when he was supposed to, just taking his sweet time. And I'm literally crying over the tub because I can't help my child. Like, my child is in the bath. He's crying because he doesn't feel good. His body is incredibly itchy and he's uncomfortable, and I literally have no way of doing anything. So we got Hendrix to the doctor. He's feeling better after a few days, and then we're running into problems like we can't get groceries because we had to take Kenny to the doctor so he could get a prescription for him. We had to take Hendrix to the doctor. You know, Kenny has to stay late at work, or like, it's just, it was always something. And so we're going without things like bread and milk, things for dinner. I feel helpless because it's like my son is asking for a peanut butter and jelly, and I'm like, I literally have no way of making that for you. Granted, Kenny has been really good that he calls me every time he goes to get off work. He's like, do you need anything? Do you need to stop by the store? You know, he's been very great about that, and most times like I just tell him no, it's okay, because he just worked 14-17 hours a day, and I'm like, the last thing I'm gonna make you do is go pick up all this stuff at the grocery store. I feel like I failed as a mother, I failed as a spouse. So like, the days are going on, and then Kenny gets paid and we realize his checks are getting smaller. They changed the way that he gets paid, so he has to make a certain amount of sales for his store before he gets commission. Like, they upped that amount, so he doesn't make that amount until like mid-month. Very beginning of the month and the first few weeks after, he's not making any commission. Paying rent was kind of a pain in the ass, I'm not gonna lie. You know what I mean? His check's shorter, so it's like we can't just use one check to pay rent, we have to use 2 checks. So we're trying to explain that to our landlord, and she's like, no, it's fine, I'll make note of it. And then a few days later, there's an eviction notice on our door. I'm just like, what else could go wrong? We obviously got it figured out. We're still here, everything's fine. You know, we're obviously panicking, so Kenny's applying for different jobs, not just here in Utah, but also Idaho. With Idaho coming back up, I was like, well, my old manager really wants me to come back, so I'm sure I could pick up a few shifts there. That way we can put that money into savings and just have it as backup for whenever we need. I was really trying to find the pros of moving to Idaho because I do not want to go back. I'm so happy here in Utah. Like, despite everything that's happened, I'm genuinely happy here in Utah. As far as like Idaho goes, rent would be like $600 cheaper. We would be in a townhouse instead of an apartment. Like, we'd have a backyard, we'd have enough space for all 4 of us, and it'd be better for the kids. We do still have that kind of in the back of our minds. Regardless, we will be moving. It's just a matter of when. Timing of everything, this is just what blows my mind, because like a year ago we were kind of like in the same situation where we were scrambling to find a place because life changed within like the snap of fingers. I don't know like the best way to explain this, but Kenny has his end of year review at the end of this month. That will determine whether or not we move to Idaho or not, or if we get to stay in Utah. It's just a matter of how big his raise is. We'll see. We're fairly hopeful because he's done some very big sales. He's gotten a lot of accounts to start ordering from his store, and so that's helped a ton. So we're feeling very hopeful that his raise will be big enough to let us stay here. But regardless, we will be moving just because this apartment isn't big enough. We're already outgrowing it with just the 3 of us. We can get a bigger space for the amount of money that we pay. We're waiting for Kenny's review. However, our lease is up April 8th. That leaves us like a week to find a place and move. and then I'm due May 14th. Baby could come anytime, especially if I end up having to need that C-section. Then I could have this baby at the end of April, very beginning of May. If I have the same issues that I did with Hendrix, I'll probably end up having him around 37, 38 weeks. So that still shortens our time, and it honestly stresses me out. Like, and it's not a stressful part of like, well, are we gonna have a roof over our head? Because Kenny's reassured me that no matter what, like, he'll have us taken care of. We're gonna have a roof over our head. It's just the fact that I haven't been able to buy anything or order anything for this baby just because I'm like, that's more stuff we have to move. We can't even set it up or put it away. So it's like, what's the use of buying it? But with how stressed out I've been, I feel like maybe that is what I need to do. That way I at least have that stuff. So I think I'm gonna start like getting things here pretty quick because I'm 30 weeks today. I'm 30 weeks pregnant. I don't know. I just feel like towards the end of January, that was when my depression really spiked. I feel like I failed everybody. I was completely helpless and just, I felt so stuck. And I was like, there's literally nothing I can do. Like, Kenny's working so much, I hardly see him. And just the amount of stress that's on his shoulders, like, I literally have no way of helping. Jumping on into February, I log on to Facebook through my laptop because Hendrix had my phone. And it showed up that I had like a message request. Ironically, it was my sister's ex-girlfriend. She had actually tried to reach out to me January 25th, I believe, when she was going to come get the car. Basically just said, hey, sorry to bother you. I don't want to drag you in the middle of this, but your sister just informed me that I need to come get the Buick within the next day or two, and she's being irrational and is thinking about repossessing the car, and I obviously can't have that happen because my sister's ex-girlfriend had her name on it too, so like it would affect her credit obviously, and nobody wants a repo on their credit. I was so mad because I was like, well, that right there just completely cancels out what my sister initially told me, because that day I told her I don't have that extra $40 and she came up with, oh, my ex-girlfriend's gonna come from Oklahoma to get this car. She didn't even talk to her ex-girlfriend. Like, she didn't talk to her until almost 3 weeks later. I asked her, I was like, well, do you at least have the Buick? She's like, yeah, I went and got it. I felt so bad because I have no use for it. She's like, it's literally just sitting here. And I was like, I'm so sorry I didn't see this message sooner. And she's like, I wish you would have, because like I would have been happy to work something out with you and just have you continue making payments to me. Mid-February comes around and I still haven't talked to my sister. Like, I don't care to have any contact with her. I feel like what she did was just very shady. And so she tried to FaceTime me, and I didn't answer because I was at the grocery store. Ironically, I was at Smith's. Like, we had just gone grocery shopping, so I was like, I'm sorry, I'm busy. She's like, I'm getting so sick of getting the cold shoulder for a car. You shouldn't be keeping Hendrix away from Riker, which is my niece, and I guess that's why she was calling, because Riker wanted to talk to Hendrix. I told her that I was upset, and it wasn't because she took the car, it was because of why and how, and that she lied about it. And her only response was like, she was like, I don't feel bad because you guys have another vehicle. Oh, she was like, besides, you guys can't afford it anyway, which doesn't make sense because I've paid it up to this point. And she was like, maybe that'll teach you not to rely on people. That just completely ticked me off. And I basically told her, I was like, you can just go kick rocks. But it's like, that right there just confirms that she did it just to hurt us. Sorry for the angle change, but my camera and laptop both died, and I kind of need both of those because I'm looking at the notes on my laptop. Where I left off is just that I don't understand my sister's motive behind it. Like, I know her life was kind of falling apart a little bit when all this began, but I just don't understand if she did it because she was jealous, because she like stayed the night at our house, saw that we had like a fairly decent apartment and that I'm with a man that loves me and Hendrix, and I have a somewhat decent vehicle, like things are going okay for me, and her life is falling apart. So it's like, to where she can't control what's going on in her life, she can control what's going on in mine by taking our main vehicle away. So this whole 3-month span, she's acted like everything has just been fine and nothing has happened, and I'm just like, I don't understand. It's greatly affected me. It's hurt my family. Like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't matter how bad your life is going, you don't go and just take from others to bring them to that same level. So I haven't talked to her since that last conversation. A week or so after all of this happens, we went to go have dinner with Kenny's dad, and Kenny's car, it's older, which is fine. Like, we don't need a luxurious car, but the clutch started to go out, and so I wanted to just sit in the back seat and bawl because I'm like, we literally need this vehicle. Anyways, so that's just kind of like a fair update of what's been going on over these past few months. I just haven't wanted to talk about it because I get super emotional about it. Give credit to Kenny because holy crap, I couldn't do any of this without him. Like, he has been the best support, and he's been really, really good to remind me that none of this was my fault. I do kick myself a lot for it because it's like, well, had I saw that message, it could have been prevented, or it's gonna take a while for me to like get over this because it's hurt me, it's hurt my family, and it's hard. Like, it's hard to listen to your child be like, Mom, can we please go to the park? Because it's been like 60 degrees here, super sunny, super warm. But he'll beg to go to the park, or he'll beg to go to the grocery store to pick out popsicles, or, you know, we used to go and get like a donut every now and then just as like a little date, and he'll ask to do that, and I'm like, I literally have no way of doing so. You know, in the meantime, I'm just gonna start ordering stuff for this baby and get my hospital bag ready and just focus as much on the positive as I can, that I do have 2 healthy boys. I have a man that loves me. Bear with me. Life is just getting crazy and it's all out of our control. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you soon.